There we go. Chatting. We're just chatting. Just having a conversation. Chat room. How's it going? Like Shroud this week, I'm back to streaming on Twitch. You know, I know you all were wondering when was I gonna exclusively come back to Twitch. Well, you've gotten your answer. But like I said, we got a couple things we want to talk about. As it says in the title, I do want to talk about this DC fandom event. But before we even really get into talking about DC fandom, there are some other really important things going on in DC that I wanted to talk about that has to do with a bunch of layoffs. DC Comics has had some major layoffs. And this was as of 4 days ago, this ended up happening. So I got an article pulled up here by Deadline. So I want us to take a look at that, because I think this is a really important discussion to be had, because I feel like a big thing that a lot of people are feeling with COVID. I felt this with my job that I worked at before, you know, I got laid off and all that stuff. But one thing that COVID-19 is doing is accelerating a lot of businesses and industries. It's forcing a lot of them to evolve. Look at the movie industry, you know, and them being forced to deal with the presence of digital being more prominent now in streaming services. It's an important thing that's happening right now that's affecting a lot of people and affecting a lot of jobs. And it was inevitable that the comics industry was going to be affected by this. You know, we've always seen the slowing numbers, the dwindling returns, the comic book stores that are closing again and again. You know, we're seeing this shrinking physical media industry and this growing digital industry. But when you break it down and when it comes down to it, you know, it's kind of scary to see what's going on with DC right now. But like I said, there's an article about it, so let's check that out. This is an article on Deadline by Nelly Andreeva. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. But the article reads as such. Warner Brothers DC Entertainment was one of the divisions hard hit by the company-wide layoffs today. The high-profile DC departures include Bob Harris, DC's editor-in-chief, Hank Canals, the SVP Publishing Strategy and Support Services, personnel, I guess that's the way of putting it. Bobby Chase, the VP of Global Publishing Initiatives and Digital Strategy. Brian Cummings, the Senior Story Editor. Okay, so Brian Cummings, Senior Story Editor, has Deadline confirmed this. Okay. Warner Brothers is not commenting, however. Jim Lee remains DC Chief Creative Officer, which is still good, but I think they've pretty much revoked every single other thing about him, though. So essentially every other aspect that he has of his job that allows him to maintain a lot of any like major business decisions are essentially gone at this point. And I think they also fired his assistant as well. Grace Randolph has a really good video that has some more insider information on this, which is a really highly recommended watch. But it says also impacted is Warner Brothers DC Universe. Once a high-flying unit that was designed to usher Warner Brothers into the streaming world, the digital platform's original slate has been dwindling since Warner Media announced the launch of HBO Max following the acquisition by AT&T. As a result, DC Universe has been focusing on its core business of DC comic book and news content for fans. The DC Comics layoffs also impacted DC Universe in its evolved function as a fandom destination. And it says, I think wrapping this up, DC Universe has only one exclusive series, Titans. Doom Patrol is now shared with HBO Max, that it is. Stargirl, even after, I think shortly after it got announced, it's officially now just, I think it's just a CW show now. And then the cutbacks come days before the big DC Fandom Online event on August 22nd, which is next Saturday. They are part of the overall layoffs of about 600 employees at Warner Media. Okay, so let's break this down, right? So a big issue with a lot of this has to do with the fact that this acquisition by AT&T, or this merger, you know, this thing going on, this came at a very bad time, to be honest. What ended up happening is essentially now you have all of these you know, components that are going on, this gaming division, the comic books division of Warner Brothers, the movie division, all that stuff, all these disparate parts that are equally kind of have their own a bit of issues going on with getting their feet off the ground, especially when it's DC Comics related. And now all of a sudden COVID-19 happens, and now AT&T is billions of dollars in debt. Warner's is due to the merger, and now they have to make up for all of this money. So employees are going to be the first things that are going to go, and then you're going to hold on to your valuable assets. I remember a couple of weeks ago I ended up making a video talking about, what was it? It was Warner, AT&T was trying to sell Warner Brothers Interactive. You know, they're trying to sell off Rocksteady Studios, NetherRealm Studios, as well as Avalanche Studios, the guys who make Mad Max and the Just Cause games. They're talking about selling Warner Brothers Interactive, that whole entire collective, just so they can make some more money, and then leasing out the IPs of those characters. But now they're talking about holding on to those characters now, because I think they really have come to realize the value of their whole entire gaming division. But going back to the whole entire thing with comic books, I think it was inevitable. I really do think it was inevitable, unfortunately, that like we're going to see a mass restructuring of their comic book industry. But I mean, the scale at which this is going to this quickly is rough, because a lot of people are without jobs. You know, I think we all saw the writing on the wall with DC Universe. I mean, I still have DC Universe. I haven't even opened that app in so long. You know, I told myself, yeah, I'll catch up on those comic books. Never did. I'll catch up on those exclusive series. Now, most of them are all available on somewhere else. Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol. Those two are already on HBO Max, and those are the ones that I'm interested in seeing, because I saw a couple episodes of Harley Quinn. Really liked it. But I have no interest in watching Titans. So it's rough, man. It's really rough. Especially, like I said, for those people who lost their jobs. My condolences go out to all of them. It's a really rough time dealing with this virus and how it has affected every single industry, and it is accelerating things in ways that people don't want, for sure. But it was inevitable to a certain degree, right? But I think that's most of the thoughts I end up having on this whole DC fandom event. It's rough. It's rough. No one likes to hear that, you know, people are losing their jobs, or the way that your comic books are going crazy. Because I know there's about to be mass cancellations of comic book lines going on in DC. A lot of writers are about to get moved around, shipped out, all sorts of stuff. So it's about to get insane over there. And I think even some of these people we're about to see on panels at DC Fandom aren't even going to be employed there anymore, which kind of adds a sour note to some of these panels that are going to be happening. But I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. Wishing for the best. Wishing for the best for sure.